Well, I promised that I'd make an F1 video a long time ago, and that is a habit for me. I lie. But I am making one now. And not only am I making one, I brought the world's most renowned expert, as you can tell by his merch on right now, on one to help me out. So,
yes, go on.
Yeah. So, introduce yourself, mate.
Thank you very much. I'm Kinggrave. You would have seen Krishna on the Spanish GP in a nutshell. If you watched that, you probably haven't, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got loads of F1 stuff, and I suppose that nearly all my audience does not watch F1. If you want a 7-minute condensation to understand every race in perfect detail, watch his stuff. It's amazing. Yeah. But anyways, we made this particular video because despite the fact that no races are going on, and will go on for the next 2 weeks, F1 decided to have a bit of a bachelorette thing. They decided to manufacture tons of drama, which if you watch Drive to Survive, they'll have 10 episodes dedicated just to what happened this summer. So, we'll start with the most important event that started this horrendous cascade of events. Sebastian Vettel retired.
Yeah, he went on Instagram, he made an account, the F1 Instagram account went, "Oh, welcome Seb, welcome to Instagram," and then the next day, he dropped a bombshell, and he made a 3-minute video about how he's retiring from F1, and he mentioned F1 for about 5 seconds before just going on to talk about himself and what he loves, in typical Seb style.
Yeah, absolute mega chat.
Exactly.
Absolute mega chat.
Yeah.
Makes Instagram account, no posts, retires, nothing else.
It's done stupidly well as well. It did like 1 million likes in the first day. It's crazy, but yeah. As it should be for a 4-time world champion. As it should be.
Do you think he should have retired before he went to Aston Martin? Like he ends it with Ferrari, or do you think that it was better that he went to Aston Martin, like got a podium and then retired?
I think it was worth the punt, to be honest, because they just came off the back of their pink Mercedes season. They got 4th in the constructors. Could have got 3rd if they didn't have the points deduction. So it was worth a punt. They were looking all right. They were all right last year, 7th best car. But yeah, this year it's just gone downhill. They haven't nailed the regulations, and yeah, it's a bad idea. Yeah. He's got Lance Stroll as his teammate. All of the bad stuff.
Honestly, I think Lance Stroll being your teammate is the best thing that could happen to a driver because you can't look bad.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like with Mick Schumacher, a lot of people criticized him this year because he's bad compared to Kevin Magnussen, but nobody criticized him last year because you're driving next to Mazepin, and like all you have to do is finish a race and you'll beat him.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, I remember seeing some memes or maybe some serious things that Lawrence Stroll was going to sign Nicholas Latifi, so Lance Stroll looked like a god. I remember that. But obviously Alonso signed. Oh wait, who scored it? I mean, that's a realistic thing that could happen.
See him do that.
Yeah. Money as well. Yeah, I mean, they don't need money, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Yeah. Like 100%, like he would do that.
Definitely.
Honestly, I think that Lawrence Stroll is very bad for the team. It's proof that money is honestly not a good thing because what's their budget right now? Let me check. How much are they blowing on this team?
They just built a new factory as well. They're putting a lot of money into it.
I don't think the new factory counts as part of the budget.
It doesn't. I don't think it does. But still, they're putting a lot of money into it.
First article that pops up. Aston Martin explained why they're in favor of a cost cap increase. They're in 9th on the grid, and they just want to spend more money.
I mean, they've got so much money. They don't need to worry about it.
Oh, no. Have they considered, just for a moment, that Haas, a team which is struggling to spend any money on the team, is beating them, and they want to increase the budget cap?
Yeah. Haas haven't even had many upgrades this year either. They've been pretty much stock car.
That was only for Yeah, they've only had one upgrade, and that was only for K-Max car, which
Yeah,
retired, I think.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
it? I remember listening to a podcast with Lawrence Stroll, and he said they wanted to be world champions within like 5 years because they've got all this factory and all of this money pumped into the team. I remember listening to that and thinking, what meth are you on?
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like PSG going to the Champions League in 10 years. That was
Ex-
the original promise that they made when they bought
Exactly.
PSG.
Even worse, West
Like,
Ham saying like 5 years ago they were gonna get top four, and that hasn't happened.
oh.
That's just like
Or any Manchester United fan thinking they're ever going to win Premier League again.
exactly. They probably won't. There's City now, and there's Liverpool, and there's all these money. It doesn't work. See,
Yeah.
I would have loved
Oh,
to have
that's
seen
hilarious.
someone like Lance Stroll, or no, Lawrence Stroll, in a team like Marussia or Mana. I would have loved to have seen that. 10th in the grid. Oh no, like 13th in all of the standings. And they were like, we want a budget
Yeah,
cap
yeah.
increase. We want to spend so much money, but we're getting the least money each year because we're that shit.
I think, honestly, you have to be at least fifth out of the 10 constructors to vote for a budget cap increase. Okay? Like,
Exactly.
at least in the name of fairness.
Exactly. That's just Lawrence
Yeah,
Stroll,
just
though.
wait. He's gonna buy out like Mercedes and Red Bull, and he's gonna buy out all the teams ahead of him. That way, Aston Martin can be first. That's what he's gonna
He
do.
had a big share. I think he had a big share in Aston Martin when they were sponsoring Red Bull as well, and now they've made their own team. So he was
Yeah.
close to buying Red Bull, but not close enough. He doesn't have
Oh
that much
God.
money. He doesn't have that much money. Red Bull is absolutely massive.
Hey, yeah, you heard it here first, guys. Lawrence Stroll gonna buy out every team ahead of him and give orders to let Lance Stroll through.
Honestly, Lance Stroll is going to be in this sport until his dad dies. I don't know how old he is actually. How old is Lawrence Stroll?
I think he's 25, 27,
No, not
somewhere around there.
Lance. Lance is 23. You know,
Oh, Lawrence.
Lawrence Stroll. I don't know
Oh
how.
no.
Uh,
How
Lawrence S.
is
Stroll.
Satan? Oh my God.
63.
No,
I think we
God!
got another 10 years of Lance Stroll.
No, God, please, no!
Maybe more actually.
Oh,
He's got
that's true.
yeah. He's gonna be
Wow.
here. He might. So I was thinking about this. We're gonna get like 20
He's
years
thinking for
of
a
Max Verstappen.
63-year-old.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get
Yeah.
well Max will probably retire. He could retire early, but he might retire when he's not got enough anymore.
You
He's
might
like
pull Rosberg? I
38.
don't think so.
Thing is, if Max retired at like 38, like that's not even like Fernando's age. If he retired at like 42, Max will have had 2015 to he was 17. He would have had like 24 years in F1, which is just crazy because he was 17 when he
That's
started.
ludicrous.
And the thing is, he will as well. He
Yeah.
definitely will because he's a great driver. He's one of the upcoming greats.
Yeah.
He's
The thing
this
is, like,
generation's Fernando Alonso, I think.
I think he's this generation's Hamilton.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, for all the records.
Yeah.
It's-
I think he's this generation's Hamilton. Unless he does pull an Alonso, where he dethrones a 7-time world champion, wins 2 titles, and fades.
Oh yeah, no, then moves to the worst team on the grid. He needs to have a bad career choice.
Goes to Ferrari. Yeah. No. He can't make a bad career choice. He's stuck with Red Bull for the next like 7 years or so that his contract is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a good
I mean, on the
segment.
radio,
That is a good segment to Alonso.
Oh, yes. Right. Contracts. So the reason why we started with Seb is because this beautiful man over here retired. And after that entire fanfare for him leaving, no one knew what was going to happen to his seat at Aston Martin because it's an awful team. Nobody wants to be there. The team principal there left, which shows you like how toxic that environment is. And Lawrence Stroll wants his underpaid engineers to like work overtime and make cars that they really can with the budget that he's given. It's ludicrous. Anyways, so he wanted to know who would sit in the seat next to Satan, i.e. Lance Stroll.
Nicholas TV.
And it turns, yeah, there were so many names being thrown around. One of the names that was thrown around was Oscar Piastri, the guy who won F3 and F2 back to back. The last two people to ever do that are currently vying for world championships in the near future. So we're thinking that Oscar Piastri is a world championship caliber guy, and he needs an F1 seat because he was more or less robbed of one this year. So we think, okay, Seb retires, there's an open seat, and it's like a no-risk entry for him. But no. Silly season really got silly. I mean, downright ludicrous. What happened was Fernando Alonso, who's got a very lengthy history of switching teams, he jumped from Alpine, which he was supposed to be there as like a project manager to take a struggling, like help it develop the car, use his experience, and get it up, like further up the grid. But Fernando Alonso jumped ship from Alpine, and all of a sudden he signs with Aston Martin. And I think the way we found this out was because Aston Martin put out a post like congratulating Fernando Alonso for joining the Aston Martin. So everyone's heads are banging against the wall because now the Aston Martin seat is filled up, but the Alpine seat opens up. And Oscar Piastri is their junior driver, right? He's been racing under like their name, and they've been sponsoring him through F3 and F2. They've blown millions of dollars on him. Where could he possibly go?
I think it's time.
Certainly not Alpine.
Yeah, no, not yet. We won't talk about that just yet. But this is an exact repeat of 2014 when Fernando moved from Ferrari, which wasn't a good car. That car is probably the worst Ferrari that's ever been made. Was it F1 4T or something? Understeered and oversteered out every corner. That car, yeah, you can understand it for moving, but still, that car was like maybe fifth best car, maybe fourth, and then he moved to one of the worst cars, probably like eighth fastest car. It's an exact repeat. Alpine is like the fourth quickest car, and he's moved to the ninth best car. This man he never learns. He never learns. He never learns.
Yeah. It was so strange too. It was like I don't know what they offered him for him to move.
Stupid money.
I know, but like he's got money though, right? I mean, his wife is rich too. She's like a broadcaster or something like that. Like it's not like he's short of money. Like he's loaded. But I'm just thinking like, I mean, how many bad career moves does a man have to make prepared to make one more? He's seen what happened to Seb, right? Like it's not like we don't know what's gonna happen to a veteran driver in Aston Martin. Poor Seb doesn't get a good car any weekend that he drives. Yeah. It's so bad. So my guess is like money, obviously, or they actually have good plans for next year.
Right? I mean, now they have the factory.
Saying GP2 engine on the radio again.
GP2 engine. GP2.
But he's going to be in a Mercedes engine now, so that's one positive. But I mean, there is the factory that's been built now. I think it's nearly all has been built. It does look promising for Aston Martin, but to be honest, why would you jump ship from an established team like Alpine? It's built off the foundations of Renault and Lotus and all of the Renaults and Lotuses that came before it. And it's an established team, and you're going to a team that used to be run by a man who like laundered money onto his like airline or something. But yeah, it just doesn't really. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was Kingfisher Airline. I remember them because I fly with them, and they had these great snacks. That's what I remember them for. Great snacks, and they were the only airline to have in an age where everyone else had jets. So that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Like the other thing that shocked me, like when you said foundation, Fernando is part of that foundation.
Yeah, he won 2 world championships with them.
Yeah, he won 2 world championships with them. Like he's part of that legacy of that team. And this is like the third stint that he has with them. So he left Renault for Ferrari.
No, he left Renault for McLaren for 1 year, then went back, then went to Ferrari, then went to McLaren, then to Renault.
Yeah.
Or Alpine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had Crashgate with them. He did Crashgate. So he is Renault. He is Renault Alpine.
He did Crashgate with them.
Yeah.
And then he did whatchamacallit. Crashgate was like 2010, something like that.
It was 2008. And then Nelson Piquet got...
Oh, 2008.
Wait, was it 2000? No, it's 2008. And then Nelson Piquet Jr. was promised his seat for next year, and then he got sacked mid-season. The next year, like mid-season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dodgy Renault team. That was Flavio Briatore at peak.
So I don't know. Yeah. Great job, Fernando. I hope you like the back of everyone else's car because you're not going to be seeing much else.
Nicholas Latifi will be out qualifying Fernando Alonso next year. That is how crazy it's going to be.
I won't watch that. Yeah. I mean, Nicholas Latifi could out qualify everyone here. You just got to give everyone else a chance, right? We
Doesn't
have
want
to
to.
see a sport.
We saw what happened
Yeah,
at
he
Hungary
doesn't want to.
FP1. We saw what happened.
Yeah,
FP3.
yeah. You saw Charles on the radio. It's
Yeah.
Latifi P1. Yeah, because Charles knows he's only contending for a championship because Latifi lets him.
Exactly. Well, I think
Unbelievable.
we've
Yeah.
moved on
Which brings us
from
to the actual bombshell.
yeah, we've moved on from Alonso. So Alonso gets announced, and everyone goes, "Wait, what?" Even Otmar Safnauer had no idea that Fernando moved. He only knew because of the Aston Martin press release. That's how crazy this whole thing is. So I bet in the future there's going to be so many conspiracy theories about how Alonso is trying to screw over Alpine just because he's Fernando Alonso. That's what he does.
Honestly, let's look over his track record real fast then. He joins his team. He says he's going to be there for a developmental period. He absolutely shows up Esteban Ocon because everyone thought this guy was, he's a 40-year-old. He's way past his prime. He's done. He shredded Ocon at age 40. He shredded Ocon I'm not counting Ocon's Hungary win last year because that was sheer luck, and because Fernando was defending Hamilton.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like even Ocon's Hungary win has to be to Alonso. So, like, I think he showed up Ocon last year. He showed up Ocon again this year. And then, the worst thing that could possibly happen was, like, them not developing a car that he asked for. Because that was the entire anticipation, was like, I'll join your team if you develop a proper car for the next year, which they failed to do. And then they botched his strategy, and they left him on the grid with tire blankets. Start from the pit lane instead of like where he qualified. They kept botching his races over and over again. They never gave team orders for him to pass Ocon, even though he was faster, to the point where he wore his car down and had to DNF in the first race in Bahrain. They've not given him the respect that a number one driver should have. I perfectly see the motive for him wanting to sabotage. And it makes sense. He didn't tell them he was leaving Alpine. They found out via Aston Martin, the team that he moved to.
Exactly. The man has been screwed over completely this year. He's had so much unluckiness, and then Ocon's been there to grab the best result and take the headlines. Ocon's got like 56 points this year. I think he's got more than last year, and he had a win. Like, he's got more points than last year. He's been good. Ocon has been good this year, but Fernando Alonso has got a front row in an Alpine at Canada. That's ridiculous. And then he had to stay behind him.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Otmar's been having digs at him as well, even though he's been screwed over by luck so many times, and also his team. Even in Austria, I think he finished P10 in the end, but he had to make 2 pit stops. He had to dodge the FIA taking a look at his wonky wheel, he made his own rules. He's like, oh, box again, and they're like, what the hell? What are you doing? But it's just he saved the team that 1 point in Austria, but it could have been so many more, and it should have been because he should have started in 7th on Saturday. But yeah, that's Fernando Alonso and Alpine. That story is done.
I honestly think that they made a mistake by taking Ocon and continually extending his contract. I think that Ocon for when was his contract last extended? Let me check. Okay, so extended to 2024, and he got this. Okay, so he got his new contract in 2021, and they signed him till 2024. This is on Alpine. The whole Piastri thing is perfect on Alpine. You know Piastri is racing in F3. You know that he's got winning caliber potential. You know that he's probably going to be there at most till 2023. And you sign Ocon, who's not even your driver. He's a Mercedes driver. I think he still is a Mercedes driver.
I think he
right?
is. I think
have they gotten off the payroll yet?
he's still with. I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah.
still. His manager's up like Toto Wolff. I think. I don't know. I think
There
he
you
is.
go. Yeah,
I
I
think he
know
is.
he works at Mercedes cap from time to time. I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah,
still with Mercedes, so he's not even
yeah.
your driver. You signed him more or less on loan, and instead of saying, "Okay, we're going to sign you with short-term contracts," so that because they're not even using a Mercedes engine, like what's the leverage? What's the force to make you keep Ocon at the expense of Piastri? Like it's not that you can't keep until 2024. If Piastri is not the project you want, you sign short-term contracts, and then if Piastri's a bust in F3 and F2, you give him a long-term contract. Instead, they gave it till 2024, and now they're in a pinch. They planned on replacing Alonso. Yeah, which makes perfect sense because everyone thought Piastri, an Alpine driver, would go to Alpine. And then he drops this tweet. He said he's not going to drive for them at all. Not even I haven't signed the contract yet. They've already popped the champagne. They're having a party, and this guy says, "Oh no, I'm not even attending. I'm done."
I think the post is still up as well. I don't. I'm gonna quickly check that. I think it's still up on Instagram and Twitter.
Mhm.
Let me just check this. It's still up. It's still 2023 driver lineup confirmed. That was 8 days ago, and Piastri's come
Because
out.
they still believe
Yeah.
he's going to race for them.
Even
Like
though
they
he's literally
announced
said
that their
no.
lineup was. Yeah. So they announced that the contract was signed. They announced that the contract was signed. That Ocon and Piastri would race for Alpine in the 2023 season. Like I think it was a few hours later because poor Piastri was still sleeping in Australia.
Yeah. It was at 2
He
a.m. in
wakes up
Australia.
and sharp jawline Mark Webber tells him, "Buddy, they told you that you signed for their team." So he has to put out a statement saying, "I didn't sign for this team. They say that I'm going to race for them next year. I'm not going to race for them next year. I'm not going to race for them at all. Not even the contract hasn't been signed yet." So then the rumors start fluttering away as to, okay, then where would Piastri go? I know everyone says McLaren.
I think he
There's
is
a
going
issue with
McLaren.
the buyout thing with
I think he
Daniel
is.
Ricciardo. Yeah. I honestly thought he'd go to Williams because it is so much easier to kick out Latifi and secure a seat there than to play the contract game with Ricciardo, who legally has a contract until 2023. Yeah.
I think what Mark Webber's done is he knows what it's like to drive around at the back with a Minardi. So he's told him there is a kind of what's it called? There's a potential spot at McLaren because McLaren aren't liking the look of Daniel Ricciardo. They want to get rid of him. Any excuse to get rid of him. So Mark Webber's gone, mate, don't go for Williams just yet. Do it if it's your last resort. But go for McLaren because they want you. They don't want Ricciardo. And that's a free seat.
Yeah.
I think he is
That's
going to
true.
go to McLaren, but it just
True.
hasn't been announced yet because of this Ricciardo payout thing. It's just.
I mean, there was so much fallout from this because, like, okay, Seb retiring hit out of nowhere. Oh my God, shock! Within a couple days, Fernando moves to the just freshly opened seat at Aston Martin. Shock out of nowhere. Okay, so like your long-term F1 F2 driver Oscar Piastri, he has to go to the team that sponsored him, right? No, he wants to go to McLaren. Like, none of this makes any sense. I want to know if there's like bets on silly season, like the driver lineups. There's probably somewhere. Like, I want to know who got this roster right for 2023.
Yeah, no, this is. Talking about people predicting the lineup, if you go on Twitter and you go on Marcus Ericsson, he predicted the grid. And it's awful. It's absolutely awful. Marcus Ericsson. Where is he?
I think he said like Mick would go to
Alpha Tauri. No, he said he went. He said he'd go to Alpha Tauri. No, I need to get this up. This is shocking. They were shocking. Where is it?
He's a Ferrari driver, by the way.
Come on. There we go. Okay. After Alonso's middle finger to Alpine switch, this is how the rest of F1 silly season will play out. Alpine, Ocon Gasly, Alpha Tauri, Schumacher Tsunoda, McLaren, Norris Piastri, Alfa Romeo Bottas Zhou, Haas Magnussen and Ricciardo, and Williams Albon De Vries. Bro, he said Schumacher would go to Alpha Tauri. He'd go to a Red Bull Academy team. What? He's destined for that Ferrari seat. That's like the ultimate goal is to get two Schumachers in two Ferraris.
Like, Red Bull. Red Bull were hyper hesitant. Yeah, Red Bull were hyper hesitant to take Sergio Perez, a proven race-winning driver, over Albon and Gasly, who are also decent, well-seasoned drivers. I know Albon was underperforming, but Gasly was on the up and up,
Mm.
and they hesitated and they took Perez onto the Red Bull team. Why would they take someone who's not even their junior driver onto their training team? That makes no sense.
I mean, this is just Marcus Ericsson just being like, I don't even know what he's doing. I don't even know why he's saying this. He doesn't even have an affiliation to F1 anymore. Like, yeah.
Literally everyone was having a go at this. The moment Piastri said that he's not going to race for Alpine, everybody was taking shots at Alpine immediately because I understand Piastri should race for them because they paid for him. F2 and F3 are not cheap, right? They're the one who talent aside. When we watched that Josh Rebel video about how expensive to get into F1, but they're the ones who bankrolled him so that he could actually get into F1. And sure, there was a bit of delay, an unwarranted delay between him winning F2 and getting into F1, but switching teams and that was ugly. But what was worse was assuming without his consent that he'd sign on for the next year. I mean, step one, guys, you need 2 signatures on a contract. What the hell is this?
Yeah, the thing is, what the red flag for everyone who reacted to that was that there was no Piastri quote in the thing. That was everyone's red flag, and they're like,
Exactly.
hold up, no, this is not right. And then Piastri went on his story, went on Twitter, and he said, I am not driving for Alpine. And also, just going back to the Alonso signing with Alpine in the first place, and then signing long term with Ocon. You can understand Ocon because he's French, but the thing is with Alonso, you know what you're getting. He's not going to be loyal. How many teams has he gone to now? He's been at 7 teams, and he's been at the same team 3 times.
Yeah.
There is no loyalty there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were expecting, but yeah, that's just Alonso in a
Okay,
nutshell.
Alonso F1 history. Yeah. Let me see if I can team history. How many times has he switched? Is it a chart or something?
I
to track
think
his,
he was at
progress.
Minardi, Renault, and then McLaren, and then
Yeah. So Minardi 2001, Renault 2002, McLaren 2007, and then he had a spat with Hamilton. Then he left to Renault again for 2008 and 9, and then he went to Ferrari in 2010. And he went back to McLaren in 2015, complained about the GP2 engine, cried, left the sport for 2 years. He won in Le Mans twice.
and Daytona.
In that sabbatical.
and Daytona.
Yeah, and Daytona, yeah. And then he came back to 2021, back to Alpine, aka Renault, and then now he's going to jump to Aston Martin.
Yeah.
This man's 41, and he's trading team to team like he's 20.
Also, he's going to be in F1 until he's 43 as well, which is crazy. I think maybe 42.
He's jumping to project teams.
Yeah.
This isn't Sergio Perez jumping from with the pink Mercedes to Red Bull. This is him moving from a team that is a project, a long-term project they're working on with their car, to another team that's even further behind on said project that needs a long-term time to work on their car.
Exactly. It's such a risk, but I don't know what Lawrence Stroll has said to him, but
Yeah.
well, I think
I
this
know.
is best
I
time
know.
to discuss where Ricardo's going to go. Where will he go?
There's so much contract nonsense with Ricardo. So
Yeah.
if
Let's just say he gets
Piastri-
paid out. Let's say he gets paid out. What happens? Does he retire?
Piastri will not make the announcement that he will not drive for Alpine unless he has it on the cards right now in his hand that he's going to McLaren. I don't think you can bluff that you will not have an F1 drive with a particular team unless you've already got a drive locked up. This isn't poker, right? You can't bluff your way into getting on. So I definitely think that he's got a contract secured with McLaren, and the FIA court or whatever determined that that contract was valid, if not wrong.
I don't know. I don't know what the contract looked like, but I think Piastri's contract expired on the 31st of July. I think, and that's why Alonso moved on the 1st of August or 2nd of August, whatever day, which is
Even that's
crazy.
speculation, but it looks like it lines up.
That's just crazy. Why would they not renew Piastri? And I know why. It's because they didn't know that Fernando was gonna not sign with them. They were expecting Fernando to re-sign with them. But then, obviously, you can't just throw all your eggs in one basket with Fernando Alonso because he's Fernando Alonso and he's not loyal. You can't do that. And they've paid the price because they lost 2 drivers in 48 hours. That's how bad it got.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Yeah, it's not just 2 regular drivers, like the top drivers in the grid, but they just blew out of like immediately, yeah, I guess in 48 hours. To me, Fernando Alonso reminds me of Zlatan. That's
Yeah.
probably like the best comparison I can make. Like,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee that he'll stay at any one team, and he's gotten more failures switching teams than he has successes.
He
But
went
with
to both
Piastri's
Milan
contract,
clubs. Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, that's just all you need to know.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly think that with Piastri's contract, there has to be one written and signed with McLaren. I think the plan was, Alpine assumed that Fernando would stay, and they didn't even sign a contract with him. Okay, that's just, like, you can't assume he's going to stay unless you like sign a contract.
Exactly.
Alpine assumed that Ocon and Alonso would stay, and that they needed to get a seat for Piastri at any cost. So they set up negotiations with McLaren, where they would take Ricardo, or they would buy out Ricardo, and then they could take in Piastri at Alpine's expense, where Alpine would fund him for being at McLaren's team. That's my assumption, right? So that McLaren would pay out Ricardo, but then they wouldn't have to pay the salary of Piastri. Alpine would take care of that. I think where all went wrong is, like you said, Fernando Alonso is Fernando Alonso. You can't count on him to do anything except maybe drive on the grid. That's about it. That's the only thing you can count on him for.
Yeah.
But the worst part is the FIA weighed in on said that the original contract, like they said, Piastri is not like liable to be forced to drive for Alpine. What may be the liability issue here is that even though Piastri driver, because he's a rookie that's being bought out by another team that he wasn't a junior for, if McLaren accepts his new contract and ousts Ricardo, not only will they have to pay out Ricardo, Piastri will have to give some of his salary back to Alpine.
That's
It's
just
what
an
happens in a
L.
lot of sports with like academy programs. Yeah, like in a lot of sports with academy programs, when a particular person who's signed with an academy long term suddenly like ends his contract legally or illegally, and switches to another program, the new program usually has to pay some compensation for picking him up because they don't want like program poaching to happen right off the bat in the rookie season. So I think there's going to be a heavy tax on McLaren to take that risk in switching Daniel Ricciardo, 8-time race winner and competitive driver at Red Bull. He beat Sebastian Vettel right after his 4-time world championship.
Debut season
So
as well.
this isn't-
Debut season. He beat Sebastian.
Exactly.
Vettel.
Debut season, he beat Seb Vettel, who was at the time a 4-time back-to-back championship winner. So this isn't some snub driver there. I really just think that the car isn't to his style. That's the
Yeah,
problem here.
That's how it was. Like,
Yeah, so they're
there you
go ahead, yeah.
go. Oh, okay, fine. I was gonna say that the first year at Renault, the car wasn't that great. I think it was 5th fastest car. But the second season, he got 2 podiums. So clearly, the car started working for him, and then he jumped ship because of, I guess, the fact that McLaren got the Mercedes engines, and that he thought they would be good, and then it didn't really work out. But he still got a win, and they still got a 1-2. But yeah, it was. Now it just begs the question of, does he want to go back to Alpine? Does he want to go back to Renault?
I don't know. I just can't. Yeah, like, okay. I mean, I suppose we can accuse Daniel Ricciardo of the same thing that, right?
Yeah.
Like, bad career move after bad career move. It looks like, I mean, so this is the survival tip that I was taught, which is if you get lost in the woods, don't roam around because that makes it more difficult for search parties to find you.
Yeah.
You should stay in one place, make fires, and try as much as possible that people can detect. But if you keep moving around, you'll spread your evidence in multiple directions, and people won't know how to find you. I think the same, weirdly enough, applies for F1, which is stay in one team, help them develop the project, hone your skills as a driver, and give good feedback about the car. And like eventually, through long-term testing and race after race after race, like you will get a good car. But like let's look at Ricardo. He starts with a Red Bull team that won 4 titles back to back to back. He beats their number one driver, Sebastian Vettel, who also won 4 titles back to back to back. And he's there long term. And then this little guy, Max Verstappen, comes along. He's 17. He's literally a minor. But, you know, he can see the writing on the wall that Max Verstappen is going to be their hope and future from then on because, like, the kid's insane. So he jumps ship because, like, when they crashed in, I think, Baku, Max crashed in the back of Ricardo, like, the team didn't, like, step into Ricardo's defense. And that was primarily Max's fault with that crash.
Yeah.
And he also knows that the Renault engines that they were using at the time were terrible. Like, relations between Renault and Red Bull were awful at the time. So he jumps ship to Renault. Like not even to another team. Like, I understand if he didn't like the engine. And he jumped to the Renault team that wasn't competing with Mercedes, utterly rocking the championship at the time. Like, Red Bull was still better than Renault at the time. I have no idea why he to Renault. But yeah, they promised him a good project engine. He stayed there for 2 years and jumped ship again to McLaren. So I really think that even though he's only made 2 moves once he's gotten into F1, they were both poorly timed moves with zero faith in the team.
Exactly. Thing is, that's what you say. The fact that the car was so bad in 2018 for reliability with the Renault engines, and then he moved to Renault. He had so many DNFs in 2018, and I don't understand how do you think that's a good idea? I mean, obviously, Max was in favour. That was how it was working. It was similar to Mark Webber at Red Bull. He'd been there for years, but this new kid comes along, Sebastian Vettel, and he takes priority. You have to remember, not bad for a number 2 driver. 2010 Silverstone, I think. He got he got the worst wing or something, and he still won. That is like,
Yep.
that was the nail in the coffin for that. And it's a similar thing. Max comes along, he has that crash. They blame Ricardo, not Max, for majority blame, and he jumped ship. He shouldn't have, but you can understand why he moved. But then at the same time, you also wonder why the hell he moved to Renault and not to someone else. Like, also 2019, I remember literally every team changed. Every team changed. There were seats available, I'm sure, because he was the first person to move. He kicked off that silly season in 2019. But yeah, that was a brain dead decision to go back to Renault.
A whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. See, if he had stayed at
out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah, if he had stayed at Red Bull, they were moving to the Honda engines. Maybe he didn't see any hope in the Honda engines, but at the same time, he should have looked at Toro Rosso. That's what they were called at the time. Toro Rosso. They had a good season. They were reliable. Pierre Gasly got the P4 in Bahrain. I think he got P4 somewhere else as well. They were good. They were reliable. They were better than McLaren Honda. So he definitely should have stayed. But I mean, it's just, if he wanted to keep on winning, he should have stayed. But I don't know. He still had loads of reliability failures at Renault.
The tragedy right now is that Alpine's ahead of McLaren.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know everyone says that McLaren, like when Piastri's switching to the McLaren seat, and everyone pretends like it's an upgrade. Like, oh, he's moving from Alpine to a better team than McLaren. Again, historically, McLaren's been a better, but right now, Alpine is the better team on the points. Like, they've been competing. Fernando Alonso qualified P. Like, I know Lando has a podium, and that's cute and all, but like Fernando qualified P2. Like, that car definitely has potential, and I don't see it getting worse the next season because the regulations aren't changing. So, like I don't see why everyone Oscar as a straight up.
Yeah. The only thing, so this is a good time for Ricciardo, because Alpine are the 4th fastest team. He's been there before. He knows what it's like. There's no Cyril Abiteboul anymore, so there's no more of him. And like, what's it called? Yeah, the car is better. The car's, I guess, more reliable. And anyway, it's better than McLaren. They're doing better than McLaren. They've had Fernando Alonso developing the car for 2 years. So, like,
Yeah,
it's a better car than McLaren. Definitely. He's been there before. They know
yeah,
how he is. He'd probably be number one driver there. But at McLaren, Lando
definitely.
is because he's their
Yeah,
future. So the only thing I can see Ricciardo doing is going back to Alpine, taking the losses and just accepting that going to McLaren was the wrong decision and staying out and going to
yeah.
Alpine, going back where you were for 2 years and you had some decent times. They're a better team since then as well. Their third best, no, no, their fourth best car. I forgot about Mercedes. Their fourth best car.
Hmm.
So it should be an easy decision for Ricardo. He gets his money and he gets the fuck out of there, back to Alpine, and hopefully he stays in F1 for a bit.
Yeah. I think he's bagging at least $15 million. I need to put up a
Exactly.
bargain on the table, which is frankly reasonable. I don't see why they wouldn't pay that. But like by contract, by minimal regulations, he has to be paid at least the worth of his salary next year, which is 15 million that he's getting for free, basically, because he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be out of a drive next year. A lot of people have said that Ricardo's drives with Renault and with Red Bull were great because he likes a car with a bit of more front end grip with a bit more oversteer, and the McLaren car has a bit more understeer or like midline balance, and it's not his driving style. He's too aggressive for that. Because I mean that makes sense. Like overtaking with a car with understeer is very difficult, but overtaking with a car with oversteer, where you can cut the line faster than the driver next to you, that makes perfect sense. Like I can see why he doesn't like this. So with all due respect, I don't think that he's making a loss. I know a lot of people think
Mm.
that he's going to be making a loss by moving to Alpine. I think he's going to finish better than Lando and Piastri, better suits his driving.
Facts. Complete facts.
Yeah,
He could be best of the rest driver next year if Alpine keep the fourth best car.
yeah,
Best of the rest. He definitely is.
exactly.
He can be this generation's Hulkenberg. Just finishing seventh every year and getting a good job done. But yeah, what's it called?
Yeah,
Going back to Alpine, it's the best chance, as you said. He doesn't lose. He's getting paid no matter what. He's getting paid no matter what. He's losing
exactly.
his seat. He's getting paid. So, and the thing is, there's no Piastri to go to Alpine because he's gone. He's not on. His contract has expired. There is no more Piastri. There's no one in that Alpine seat, and there's no one lined up. The only person I see that could potentially take that seat is Theo Pourchaire. Just because he's French. It's not even like anything to. He's in the Ferrari program. It's just because he's French. But he's not
Yeah.
going to get it because, one, he probably has to win the F2 championship. And two, he's not in the Alpine Academy. So he wouldn't take it. But, oh, actually,
Well,
there's
Kira put out a tweet
Oh,
today.
oh, wait, there's Victor Martins.
Yeah,
There's Victor Martins. He's French and he's
yeah.
in the Alpine Academy. Oh, okay, he's their
Portier put out
future.
a tweet today. I think he said that it would be his, or it was an interview or something, where he said this would be his last F2 season.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
But that could also mean that he's going to Williams, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Or what's it
Said he'll leave
called?
F2 after
Haas.
the season.
Or Haas because he's in Ferrari.
Exactly. That was. Oh God, look. I just got this Mick Schumacher shirt for Haas. Okay, that's another thing that happened. This thing. So when Seb announced that he was going to leave Aston Martin, like the first 24 hours, everyone like had their speculations about who's going to fill in the seat. Seb and Mick are great friends because Mick's father, Michael Schumacher, was like a mentor for Seb, and he basically helped him through the 4 world championships, and he raced with Seb too. When Michael Schumacher used to race with Mercedes, so like they're good friends and stuff. And then obviously the tragedy that Schumacher, he's in a coach, but his son races 3, wins in 2 seasons, races in F2, wins in 2 seasons, decent wins. Obviously he's no George Russell or something, but like eventually he makes it up to well. And Mick and Seb are obviously good friends because like at the end of every race, where Seb finished, Seb always asks like where Mick finished in the race. Like they have concern for each other because again, it's a good mentor mentee. I get that. So once Seb left, everyone knows that Mick is on the up and up. Like I know he's had an expensive crash in the beginning of the year. That dude was basically sapping a team that had no money to begin with. They lost their sponsor, and then they had to keep paying for his crashes. So it looked pretty bad. I get that, but it looked like Mick was going to be on the up and up, that he might even beat K-Mag by the end of the because he definitely did like show up K-Mag in Austria and in Britain. Like he did pretty well. So everyone thought, okay, well his contract expires, he's probably going to move Seb's in Aston Martin. Like Seb's going to lobby for his way out. He's going to sort of help guide Mick into the Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso does Alonso things, and he takes this anyway. And then the question remains then, what the hell happens to Mick? Because his contract expires this year, and like everyone, apparently even Gunther Steiner thought that he was going to go to Aston Martin, that he was willing to jump ship from Haas. But now that Aston Martin ship has sailed, and he really doesn't have a leg to stand on with contract negotiations. So I think Gunther Steiner said that they're going to hold out Mick's contract talks until the after summer.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the only place.
Who do they want?
No, you go.
No. That's just the question I had. I was like, who do they want? Like, okay, fine, you're going to withhold Mick's contracts to replace him with
Porsche. That's the only option. Ferrari
Exactly.
Academy. That's the only thing. But the thing is, you're losing Mick Schumacher, and you know who he has as a sponsor? I'm pretty sure he has the German bank as his sponsor. Like, he's bringing so much money to the table, you can't lose him.
Yeah.
And also, he's Mick Schumacher. He's got Schumacher as his surname. You can't lose that. You can't lose that and send him off to Williams. Because, like, if he actually goes to Williams, he's going backwards, and that's crazy. He will have 2 back marker cars in 2 years, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I don't see.
Sponsor is it's Deutsche Vermögensberatung. That's the one. Yeah,
That's a beautiful
the one that his dad
translation.
has.
Yeah, no, his dad has it. He's minted. He's
Yeah.
completely minted. He
Oh.
just there's nowhere to go.
And he's not a bad driver either.
No.
It's not this guy's Nikita Mazepin, right? He hasn't caused any controversy. He's been pretty clean. He's been okay. His racecraft has been questionable, especially with his qualifying. But like barring his crashes, he's done pretty well throughout both of this past and present season, right? Like removing the big blemishes, it's a pretty clean track record for a rookie driver. So I don't see why they're in such a to get rid of him.
Yeah, unless Gunther Steiner is really targeting this 19-year-old Theo Porsche, but like I don't see him moving unless he wins the championship. I think he's bagging on himself winning the championship. But then if Felipe Drogovic wins the championship, what the hell happens? Like
Yeah, like that's another variable that everyone forgets. It's like, okay, fine, we have Oscar Piastri and stuff. That's all cute, but like, what about the current F2 winner? Like this season, someone's got to win, and they're going to want an F1 season. What about them? I think that Haas is going to be gunning for whoever wins that season, but so is Williams.
exactly. The thing is, Drogovic isn't on a driver program. That's the only thing he doesn't have. If he wins this championship, he's got nowhere to go unless a team just wants to pick him up. But if Haas don't extend Schumacher, there's 2 seats available because I'm going to assume that Ricciardo goes to Alpine and Piastri goes to McLaren. There's 2 seats available, and that's Haas and Williams. So is Mick Schumacher going to go backwards and go to Williams, or is Haas going to re-sign him and then let Theo Porsche maybe do reserve driver for this year, or Felipe Drogovic goes to Williams? I have absolutely no idea.
I think Latifi's out.
Yeah, Latifi is out. They don't need pay drivers. They said they don't need pay drivers. They've got good backing now.
Yeah.
They don't need him. It's sad.
Yeah, I think that they put out a press release at the beginning of the year saying that driver they're on merit. Only problem is he doesn't even have his merit anymore. So he's legitimately caught no to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So they punt Latifi, and your cards right now say you can sign who's again experienced in Formula One. He's pretty good. I'd say he's better than Giovinazzi last year.
Yeah.
Remember him? Like Antonio Giovinazzi? Yeah, I'm pretty sure
he's a Ferrari now. He's a Ferrari now.
Yeah, is he with Ferrari? I know he's a Ferrari.
Reserve
Where
driver. And he does Formula E as well.
There you go. Yeah. So like I think he's better than Antonio Giovinazzi.
Definitely,
Like he's had good, like Mick has got good racecraft, so, like on occasion for sure, and he's got points. And his car really did get away from him sometimes. Canada, like the engine just crashed.
yeah.
I can think of some times where the car or the strategy in Barcelona let him down. You know, shit happens. I get that, but I don't think he's gonna want to go to Williams
He wouldn't.
because he wouldn't because he's a Ferrari Academy driver. They're
Yeah.
a Mercedes. They have a Mercedes engine. Even worse for wear is that like you already have a Red Bull. I don't think Mercedes is going to provide you an engine if you adopt a Red Bull driver and a driver
Exactly.
as into your ranks. Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't think Williams has any incentive to get him. I mean, for that reason, I don't think Williams is going to get taken because he's a Ferrari driver.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. They wouldn't take it. The only thing I can see
Yeah.
Porsche doing is going to Haas as a reserve driver, and then when a seat maybe opens up, then he jumps in it. That's the only thing I can see.
Yeah.
Oh my god, why the hell is Adam
Hamilton-
Johnson trending? Sorry. I was
That's
just on
right.
Twitter and Adam Johnson's trending. I'm looking up Drogovic's age. Also, he's Brazilian.
Let's see.
He's Brazilian.
How old is Felipe Drogovic? 31.
No, he's not.
What? That's that way. Oh, no. Oh my god. 22. That's
He's 22.
what I'm
He's young. I think he's been in F2 for 3 years. He's been there since 2020. So he's been there since he was 19, which is impressive. Some of these drivers,
Yeah.
they stay in from like 22 to like 24, 25. Like Guan Yu Zhou, he's been there for 3 years, but he's a bit older. He's a few years older. But I think
Yeah.
Drogovic is one young. If he wins the championship, that's a must for Williams. They have to get him because he's a young, exciting driver, and he's Brazilian. Who raced for Williams and was Brazilian? Ayrton Senna. It's beautiful. It works.
Didn't Nelson Piquet also race for them?
Yeah, no, but Senna's more recent. That's the only thing.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
but yeah. No, but
Talk
yeah.
about Piquet.
Yeah, no, don't mention that, man. Do not mention that, man. But yeah, like that's so good. He's such a sick driver. But I think that just takes the pressure off Williams because either they go out and get Mick Schumacher, which they won't, or they go and get the winner of F2 this season, who beat Theo Pourchaire, who will probably go to Haas as a reserve driver. It just works.
Yeah.
It just works out. I hope it does. I hope that works out because
I
wouldn't.
I think it will end up happening. Yeah.
I hope it happens.
'Cause-
I hope it happens.
Then there's a speculation of if Williams will keep their engine deal with Mercedes, right? I mean, it all
Yeah.
depends on if Williams decides that they don't want Mercedes power anymore. Which, to be fair, like the Ferrari and well, barring reliability issues, the Ferrari and Red Bull engines look pretty good. And Red Bull's engines are going to be made by Porsche pretty soon. That happened too.
Yes.
So yeah, like I don't see why this isn't the prime time for Williams to jump off of Mercedes power.
It is. It completely is. Also, they only had the Mercedes. Well, they had the Mercedes thing long term because of George Russell, as well. He was a main reason why they had this Mercedes deal until I think like 2024 or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I know that Russell had a contract until like 2024 or 5. It was a long term
Yeah.
contract, and he obviously jumped ship and got promoted. But yeah, no, he was a main reason why they had this Mercedes engine in the first place. So yeah, I could see them going to Ferrari, to be honest.
Let's see, how long does Williams Mercedes contract last? Hold on. Everyone's talking about driver contracts. Nobody's talking about engine deal. That's what they call it, engine deal.
Engine deal.
How long does Williams engine deal last? Let's see. Okay, 5 years in 2021. So they'll be working with.
Oh wow.
At least that's what he said before 2020.
Jesus.
In 2019, they said that they'll be working with 2026.
Wow.
Because there was going to be like right now there's an engine regulation freeze. Like there's a development, so nobody can upgrade their engine at all. I don't see why it would hurt Williams to get a Ferrari driver and get a Ferrari engine.
Yeah, that just makes sense. I think they have to jump
Yeah.
Mercedes at this point. The Ferraris look good in this new era, especially if next year they're good as well. It just seems right. Like
The
last
Ferraris are
era,
good.
yeah.
No, go ahead. You good? You good?
Right, it's annoying because of the difference and it lags and it's a long like time.
Yeah.
So at the start of this era, Williams were with Mercedes. Obviously, they were with them a few years before as well. But they were really good in 14 and 15 and even like a little bit in 16. And they've been going downhill since 2017. They've been going downhill, been getting pay drivers in. Ever since Felipe Massa's left. Oh wait, he's Brazilian. Oh fuck. Ever since he's left, it just hasn't. It's just gone downhill. So they have to jump ship.
Honestly, I hate to say this, but I think they've been going downhill since Pastor Maldonado.
Yeah.
He's the last team to win with Williams. He's the last guy to win with Williams, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Like,
no,
imagine if you have to tell people that you peaked in the 20th century with Pastor Maldonado. That was your peak.
Yeah. No, I think they had an all right. I don't think they were that good in 2013. That was Bottas's debut season, and then 14 and 15 they were third in the
Yeah.
constructors, and then it's gone down from there. Lance Stroll got his podium, and then Russell's got his podium, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So honestly, this is the best time to go to Ferrari. George Russell's gone. There's no more of that Mercedes like reason, especially if they got Theodore Chair or even Drugovich. There's no reason. It just they don't need pay drivers. They don't need Mercedes. They need a Ferrari or a Red Bull engine. It has to
The
be
problem
Ferrari.
with pay drivers is that a lot of people, I think they're like, okay, we need the money now for like immediate engine development and like, furthering the car. I get that. But if you get a pay driver, a lot of the feedback and development comes from testing. Like your guy on the track, like the entire scene from Niki Lauda, Rush. It's a shit box. No, it's a Ferrari. No, it's a shit box. That's good because if Niki Lauda doesn't develop the Ferrari, it's not going to win a championship. And the problem with the pay driver is the only development your car is going to get is the repairs after he crashes it 1,000 times on track.
Exactly.
Nothing else is going to get fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Since
And even the worst part is
2016,
the negative press that they get.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the crashes, all the cars splitting in two. That's just negative press on the sport. Ever since Bottas left, Massa was Lance Stroll's mentor in his first season, and then Lance Stroll had Sergei Sorokin as his mentor. Like that just does not work. Felipe Massa to Sorokin. Sorokin got 1 point, and that was because Grosjean got disqualified. So also that's the last season we've had every single driver getting a point as well. If Latifi gets a point this year, we will have it again. But 2018 was the last time that every single driver got a point. But yeah, ever since then, the 2019 was it Kubica, pay driver, but also obviously he used to be an incredible driver, but still he was a pay driver. So Sorokin, pay driver, Lance Stroll, pay driver. Latifi pay driver for 3 years as well. That's 3 years of pay driver backing. So they've got a lot of money to spare. They've been developing their car. In 2019, that car was absolutely awful, but since then they've gotten a little bit better. But they're still the worst car on the grid. So this is now a better time.
I think people give them way too much credit last year because they had a double points finish in Hungary, which again that race does not count. Okay, Bottas turned the grid into basically F2. So
And Lance Stroll, you forget about Lance Stroll also taking out Leclerc and Ricciardo. You forget about him.
Yeah. Lance Stroll's like, this is my chance. Like I gotta. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna count because they basically turned broken. No way. So ruling out those two, the only reason why the Williams looked good last year is because George was driving the shit out of that. Like he was squeezing every last drop. That poor performance. And Latifi was Latifiing. Like I'm pretty sure we can't forget a particular blue car crashing in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, no, let's not talk about Abu Dhabi. No Abu Dhabi
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. Like, I
Also,
honestly think like
Belgium's
William.
just yeah,
Yeah,
freak season.
William. Okay, so let's go over like what our predictions are. So at least my thought process, like most likely, I'm not going. So Ricardo goes to Alpine, and they're willing to pay the sorry, Ricardo goes to Alpine. I think Alpine's going to pay some of the buyout fee from on Ricardo's contract because it's better for them to take Ricardo than a Terry Porcher who doesn't want to begin with.
Yep.
So I think there's going to be some like I would say hesitant agreement between the two teams where they won't have to force each other to cough out copious amounts of cash. They're just going to sort of meet in the middle ground, and Alpine helps with Ricardo's buyout, and maybe in exchange they let McLaren not have to pay them so much for taking Piastri. They'll take off like the rookie driver penalty. So they'll probably meet in the middle there. And then that would open up at neither McLaren nor Renault. Those would be sealed up. Aston Martin would be sealed up. So your only question is further down the grid. If you throw out Latifi and Haas doesn't want Mick, where would they go? I don't see Tsunoda leaving. I think he's a good project driver. He's got consistent improvement. Frankly speaking, I think he's barring the shithead crash at Canada, just like crashed right out of the pit lane.
That was the dumbest crash I've ever seen.
His controller disconnected. He
Yeah,
just
that's
crashed
literally
right
what it was. That was what it was.
Yeah, like okay, barring that crash, I think Gasly has not done well at all this year.
Yeah, Gasly's
So
been worse.
I think
Tsunoda's been better than Gasly this year.
yeah,
And also, you
exactly,
can't remember when
exactly.
Tsunoda was running in like seventh or eighth or something, and then his DRS failed and they duct taped his rear wing. Like, you can't remember.
Yeah,
You can't forget
that was
that.
in Baku.
He has been screwed
Yeah,
over a
that
few
was in
times,
Baku.
but yeah,
Yeah,
he's been doing better this year, and he's been outperforming Gasly, who's had like loads of brain dead crashes. Like, yeah,
like who are you gonna replace Tsunoda with? Like Liam Lawson?
exactly. But he's not even top three in the championship. He can't even get the super license points. I don't even know.
Exactly.
But he's fourth. He's like fourth or fifth. Maybe not even that in their two championship. There's better drivers.
Yeah, I don't think Tsunoda's going.
But then
Yeah.
there's the thing of Logan Sargent in Williams. He's a Williams Academy driver. There's a free seat open up.
Yeah.
If he gets top
Is he
three,
American?
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is American. If
Okay.
he gets top three in this championship as a rookie as well, very impressive as a rookie, then he definitely Williams will want him either as a reserve driver or as their second driver. Because honestly, I don't know why he wouldn't get that. But then I really want Drogovic to. If he wins the championship, I want Drogovic to go to Williams. But if he doesn't, and Theo Porcher wins it, then I can't blame Williams for going with Logan Sargent if he continues to perform, because he has been very impressive.
The thing with Logan Sargent is if you're going off of his a lot of people are saying because he's American he'll bring in American dollars. First off, he better perform. No one likes an American team that doesn't perform. Americans want only one thing from a team, and that's an American flag that's ahead of everyone else. So, like,
Do you mean a Russian flag? You mean a Russian flag on your car? You mean that?
I mean, I guess when it's really fast on the track, you can't see that it's Russian. It just looks red, white, and blue, and it looks
Exactly.
American
Yeah.
enough.
That's what they said. That's what they said. It's a completely American flag.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't a Russian flag. The problem is if it was fast on the track, it might have been an American flag, but the pass was
It was shit slow.
yeah. Yeah, but I honestly think that like he's a good move to Williams. They won't have to tamper with their Mercedes contract. They get to keep their engine, however good it may be. Yeah, I guess that would leave Drugovich in the wind. Hey, yeah, I guess he could go a bit. There's definitely a market there, but because yeah, like you said, no one doesn't have a contract with any particular team. No one's his driver academy, so I don't know.
I have
Do you
no
want
idea.
Brazilian money or do you want American money? That's really up to Williams.
Well, American money goes to Williams. The only thing is, like, there's an American team still going, and then there's Andretti that want to buy out Alfa Romeo. So like,
Let Andretti in.
yeah,
Oh my God. I don't know why
I would
teams
love
are
them to make
opposed
a
to
new
it.
team. I'd love them to make a new team, but that's just a bit too much money.
Yeah.
They want to take over Alfa Romeo Sauber, and they probably put an American driver in that reserve seat until Guan Yu Zhou or Bottas retires. Maybe that's probably the next move. Is Bottas retires and then that opens up a seat because I don't know why they get rid of either Zhou or Bottas because they're both two good drivers and Zhou is a massive pay driver. It just makes sense to keep them.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of these drivers have good financial backing.
Yeah.
Because if you get Logan Sargent, you get that American money. If you take Mick Schumacher on the off chance, then you get his German money and his banking sponsorship. If you take someone like Heafy, I guess that's also on the table. Like everywhere you go, if you pick up another Academy's driver, or so you have to give them loan money. Yeah, it's a bunch of weird shit. Speaking of Mick. He was like when the question of suspending his Haas negotiation came up, including everyone asked Bonato, like, okay, so Ferrari Academy driver Mick Schumacher, son of Michael Schumacher, who won you 5 championships with a car you designed, he's doing pretty well. He's an F3 championship. He's got an F2 championship. He's got a decent season so far. Are you gonna consider taking him in because like? Carlos Sainz isn't winning races, nor is he your academy driver or something. He's not signed on for like a 7-year. So like, are you considering replacing one of your drivers up the grid with Mick? Bonato said Mick is not ready for Ferrari, and that's it. I'm done. What the hell? What are you talking about?
Nah, even if he's not ready, that's insane. How that 2 generations gets in the same team. That's ridiculous PR. They have to. You can't say no to that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say no to that and keep Carlos Sainz in the seat.
Yeah. I think like he could have at least played the PR card and just be like, we're gonna see how he develops this year, and we're adding him to Ferrari. But to say that he's not ready next year, okay. And you have 2 stellar top of the grid drivers. Charles Leclerc for sure is championship caliber material, even with his spin in France, even with his issue in Imola. He's been doing fantastic. You've been botching his race over and over again.
Yeah.
Your strategy team isn't ready for Ferrari. You aren't ready for Ferrari as a team principal because after that horrible incident in Hungary where they after that horrible incident in Hungary where they poor Charles way back in like 6th place because of their terrible strategy. Instead of saying, okay, we're making mistakes, our strategy's awful, we're going to bounce back in the latter half, and we're going to choke Red Bull out all the way to the championship. He said, no, things are good as is. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. Are you kidding? We won a few races.
Thing is, do you know what I hate about Ferrari? Is that when any other team, so in Hungary, George Russell starts on pole, he's won Mercedes, and then Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez are 10th and 11th. 2 Red Bulls are basically out of the points on the grid. And then there's Hamilton, who's down in 7th. All they need to do is go on alternate strategies so they can just confuse Mercedes and put them in limbo or whatever. They put both of their drivers on the mediums. They started them both on the mediums and then put Carlos Sainz, not even the lead driver. Actually, no, I think he was. They put Carlos Sainz in the good strategy and not their championship contender. It's so dumb. Any other team would have won that race. Mercedes, if it was the other way around, if there was Charles Leclerc on pole and Mercedes were 2 and 3, they would have won that race because they would have put them on alternate strategies and, like, in that race, medium, soft, and then soft again. You just extend the stint. You just make it longer, or maybe medium and then soft. You just extend the stint, go really long in a stint, and then sprint to the end with the soft, instead of risking it on a hard tyre that the whole grid proved didn't work. It's just so random how they keep doing it.
I don't understand. I don't understand. It's wet conditions, or at least moist conditions. Like, okay, like I know qualifying was like proper, like winter conditions, but like it's not hot out there. It's cloud cover. The track is pretty cold. Okay, gamble with the hard tires. Both Alpines already suffered with trying out the hard tire thing. Like it just everyone knew that entire thing would not work. And then you said they were going for an alternative strategy.
Should have.
Throw them off to keep them behind. Bro,
Exactly.
people were confused. They got that part down.
They were
A strategy
covering
that would
off.
throw these people out, they were confusing.
Yeah, they had two drivers in 2 and 3, and they were covering off Russell. Like, what are you doing? Literally,
It's not
that
even
gif,
like-
that gif perfectly describes everything that Ferrari have done this season. They've done it so many times. And also, I watched a video. I don't know if you know Rocket Powered Mohawk. He's a beautiful, beautiful channel.
No, I haven't seen him.
Okay, he's British and he's very funny. Anyway, he did a video and he basically slandered Ferrari for like 5 minutes, and he calculated that they have thrown 123 points from Charles Leclerc this season, based on strategy, engine blowing up, Charles making mistakes. Well, you could say Charles and Ferrari bottling 123 points. That just says it all.
Yeah.
That just says it all. He'd have a 53-point lead in the championship by now. Over Max.
I think the
Not
one
even that.
concession I'll make, like the one concession I'll make for Ferrari are the engine. Like even in Seb Vettel's day with Red Bull and Renault, like he won 4 back-to-back championships, but he had a lot of DNFs like dispersed in there. Like it wasn't a perfectly reliable.
Yeah.
And like I know Max didn't have any engine problems last year, but there were DNFs where he crashed. And he crashed out of the race.
Mm-hmm.
His fault or not, that's not the question. The question is that he crashed and he entirely. Be it his tire blowout in Baku, or be it him crashing into Hamilton in Monza. Like there's lots of different. You can call it tire problems, driver problems, engine problems. Shit happens. Okay,
Yeah.
Too bad. So I'll concede Ferrari the DNFs. Like it'll happen. What I won't concede are blunder after blunder after blunder on strategy and refusing to change your lineup, or at least lighting a fire underneath their ass to make these mistakes again. Bonotto had the confidence to get on press after ruining Charles' race from pushing him second down to 6th, okay? And letting his rival take first place 10th, okay? After that disaster of a race, the fact that he had the confidence to get in front of the press and say, fine, it's good as it is, we'll keep doing. Aha, right, that's it. That should be the be-all, end-all for get him out, someone else to take charge.
Yeah.
He should not be that comfortable when he...
Ferrari are just comfortable with them just throwing the championship. They're like aware of it at this point. Like it's just this bad.
Remember that thing he said at the beginning of the season? Like it was right around the midpoint. I think it was after Monaco. Another botched strategy move where Monegasque driver Charles Leclerc, I think at the time he was still leading the championship, or did Max just hit Barcelona? I forget.
I think,
But
yeah, I think it was close. I think it was like a few points maybe in it. I can't remember.
yeah, it was close. It was close. Yeah, but definitely serious title contender at the time, right? I think 2-time race winner Charles Leclerc got up there and he was supposed to win his home race. That was supposed to be like a Monegasque driver winning a Monegasque again and again in Monaco, racing there where he never finished a race before. This is it. He's on pole position. No one can pass you. Like there is no way for anyone to overtake you. You have the fastest car on the grid. You can't blow this. And they blow it. They destroyed his strategy. They boxed him after immediately boxing him. And they got him to 4th place. After that horrendous debacle where Charles Leclerc was basically, like for the first time, pissed with Ferrari, this guy goes on air and says, oh yeah, you know what? Our goal this year is not winning the championship. It's just winning races and having good form again. Are you kidding me?
That's literally Ferrari in a nutshell. They're too proud to admit that they're wrong. That's all it is. They're too proud to admit they're wrong.
God.
It's awful. I hate it so much. I hate what they're doing.
Imagine setting the bar lower. Like, imagine setting the bar lower just so you could say you met expectations. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you think they'll ever win the championship this year? Or do you think they've even got a shot?
Not this year. Not this year. Definitely not. No chance in the constructors because Perez and Max are like 1-3 in the championship. No chance. I think Mercedes will beat them in the constructors. That's how bad it is. That's how bad their reliability is.
Ooh.
I think they
that's
will.
True. That's true.
Mercedes haven't had one mechanical DNF this year.
They've always been like that. It's insane.
The only
They've
DNFs
never
they've had, the only DNFs or non-scoring points they've had is Hamilton at Imola and Saudi. He scored a point at Saudi. So Hamilton at Imola and then George at Britain. They've had like 2 non-scoring points positions this entire season. Yep. They haven't had one mechanical DNF. Every other team has. Alfa Romeo and Haas are getting absolutely destroyed by the engines as well. Yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah. Whew. Do you think any of them have planned customer engine? Like Ferrari one is fast, but obviously it's not Ferrari mismanaging their engine. It's that like it's basically a Rogue Bull.
I think it is Ferrari's engines. They just have something in them that like the other teams are getting as well. They're getting these weird like failures, and all the other teams are getting them as well. It's not mismanagement because it's happening to the main Ferrari team and also the customers. So
yeah,
it has to be something in the engine. Otherwise, Red Bull, they've had, I think, AlphaTauri have had a few, but they've had a few. Perez has had loads, and Max has had 2. So
yeah, Perez has had 2.
Yeah.
Perez had the first one in the first race. Both of them, Max and Perez DNF.
Yeah.
Max DNF'd again in Australia, and then Perez DNF'd in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I can't recall any others.
I'm trying to think of others. I thought there were more. But yeah, still, that's too many. That's too many for the top team. But yeah, if stuff happens, the top 2 engines are being put to their limits, and they're conking out. So yeah.
I mean, Red Bull is still 80 points ahead of Ferrari.
Exactly.
Those screw-ups, you think that would be a championship ender, but they're still 80 points ahead.
Also, there's Britain where Max had the front wing, the AlphaTauri in his car.
Yeah.
And they had the opportunity to get Leclerc onto. We haven't even mentioned Britain. They had the chance to get Leclerc 25. Okay, Max got 7th, so 6 minus. They had a chance to get him 19 points closer to Max Verstappen. And what did they do? They completely screwed him up. They didn't hit him. They could have double stacked, but they didn't because they were too scared. And he came 4th. And they got how many points? They got 5 points extra. They had a potential 19. Like, those are things that lose you the championship. And also the 123 points dropped. That's what loses you championships. And Ferrari have not learned. It's crazy.
They're so cocky about it. They're like, oh yeah, we're P2. Bro, you could be P1.
You could be P1, yeah.
By working for last year, you're Ferrari. You're the only team on the grid that has been here every single season so far. You have plenty of experience. You have so much, you've had multiple championship caliber drivers for you. You had Vettel race for you, couldn't win. Alonso race for you, couldn't win. Charles Leclerc racing for you right now. I don't think he'll win.
No,
Kimi Raikkonen is the last winner that they had way back in 2007.
Could have been Massa as well.
The cars fucked it up. That wasn't like a Ferrari merit win that year.
Yeah, that was because McLaren had their fiascos. They had their spying on Spygate, I guess it was called. They were spying on them.
Yeah, it was Spygate. It was Spygate, and because Alonso and Hamilton were eating each other's points away.
Yeah.
There was no team play whatsoever.
Yeah. And then in 2008, Massa lost it so nearly, but they won the constructors that year. But still, they could have won the drivers if only Timo Glock wasn't on the slicks. I think on the wet track or something. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Honestly, Ferrari have. See, they nearly won in 2012, but it's just because Paul di Resta crashed and safety car ended the championship. Imagine like we got a 2021 Abu Dhabi similar to 2012. That would have been so underwhelming. It finished behind the safety car.
I know.
But then imagine if if there was one lap left and Alonso, got into first, and then Vettel like came up alongside him or something, and then he hit him or something like that. Just something crazy like that. But then it ended under the safety car, and it's so underwhelming. But
I know,
yeah,
I know. I think we're reliving some old moments here. Like Latifi's crash was, yeah, and this year with the Leclerc and Ferrari, I really see Vettel's Hockenheim crash.
yeah, it's the
And
exact
Ferrari
same.
spin, yeah, Ferrari spin in what was that place?
Hockenheim
Where did he spin?
or
I mean, I know Vettel's spun in Hockenheim, but
Paul Ricard.
Leclerc's Polo Car, yeah, yeah. There's way too much. Both of them start the year with a race. They've got excellent cars. They're on good footing for the development race, and they just fade away. Stupid strategy calls, forcing their drivers to do things that they should, pushing them to the edge when they really should be just cruising a quick car. And then they make mistakes under pressure that's not reflective of their driver capacity, just because they're not being supported by their team. And then the team learns nothing from the entire fiasco.
Yeah, I watched back the 2018 season. I watched back the highlights recently,
Yeah.
and what's it called? First few races, Vettel dominated. He won the first two races, and then Hamilton and Mercedes, they kept fucking up everything. He could have won that championship, but then Hamilton had a really good second half of the season, and two, Hockenheim. It destroyed Vettel, and then he kept spinning after that. He spun in Italy. He won Belgium, and then he spun in Italy. He spun in USA, and he spun in Canada, and that was it.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think Charles is gonna spin.
He can't win the
spin that
season.
much.
It's stupid. If he wins every race and Max finishes second, he still doesn't win. And also, if Max DNFs 3 times and Charles wins all 3, he still isn't leading the championship. That's how crazy it is.
Oh my God,
That's the
true.
difference. Even if he
Oh
got
my
fastest
God.
laps as well, he'd still be 2 points behind. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Max could just cruise to this title and get second places consistently. That's how bad it is. All Ferrari is recently, or in recent years, ever since Schumacher left, it's just what ifs. It's like, what if Fernando won in 2012? What if he won in 2010? What if Petrov didn't exist? What if he won in 2010? What if Sebastian Vettel won in 2018? What if Charles won in 2022? It's just what ifs.
And even with the Vitaly Petrov thing, like they didn't have that like Fernando the wheels off that thing. And again in 2012, they didn't have a good car that year. It's just that poor Fernando was pushing basically a tractor and pretending it was an F1 car.
Exactly, yeah. And he didn't have a good teammate
Yeah.
either because Massa was like not the same after his crash incident with the Braun nut and bolt. He wasn't the same
Yeah.
after that. He didn't really have a teammate to fall back on. He was single-handedly putting the fight to Vettel, who had a teammate and the best car. And he did insanely well. That just shows Fernando Alonso is top 3 of all time in my eyes. He's a ridiculously talented driver who just, one, made stupid career choices, but also
Yeah.
got very unlucky at times during his. He was at teams at the wrong time. That's what he was. He was always at the wrong team at the wrong time. He was at McLaren when Hamilton had his rookie season. He went back to Renault when they were shit. He went to Ferrari after they had fallen off a cliff from 2007 and 8. And he went to McLaren after they completely fell off a cliff. And yeah, it's just he got unlucky, but he also made some stupid choices. But yeah,
Well, I can't forget. Remember after Fernando left, I think they replaced him with Raikkonen.
yeah, 15, yeah. Now Raikkonen was there for 2014, and he did awfully because Fernando's driving style was like really different, and also the car was terrible in 2014. But
Yeah.
you can't blame Kimi for that.
Raikkonen wasn't awful though. Raikkonen wasn't awful though because he won a race 2018, the same car that Seb had. He won a race in USA, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like Raikkonen had good moments in that.
He did.
That their strategy was awful throughout the season. Like it was not where it should be. Seb had to make his own strategy. Charles is going to learn that either you listen to the Italian mafia It's so bad. Is some kid in Italy? Sorry, I gotta know. Like,
Yeah.
like is some outside guy like phoning in strategy for Ferrari? Because how do you run the hard tire in Hungary that were so bad? I can't stop reiterating this. The hard tires were so bad that both Alpines tried them and fell way back in the grid. I think they were out of the. And Daniel Ricciardo, who's been doing awful this season, comfortably overtook them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
that
after
was
they
fun.
put the hard tires on Leclerc, race leader Max Verstappen overtook Leclerc. Spun out. Not he slowed down, spun out. Leclerc passed him. But Max was so fast on his medium tires that he would take the lead after spinning out.
Exactly.
End of story. Unbelievably stupid strategy. Ferrari, if they ever say some nonsense about this is not about winning a championship ever again, when they have a championship caliber car,
Yeah.
give up. I'm done.
Literally, Sainz got a second place in Monaco because he did his own strategy, and then even in France,
Yeah.
he was getting told to box when he was trying to overtake Perez, and in there
Oh yeah.
he should have taken it into his own hands as well because he could have got a podium. Thing is, in France, it was a definitely a nothing to lose scenario because I mean Charles was out of the race. They could have got a podium if he just held out on the medium tyre. Perez didn't have any pace. Russell didn't really have that much pace compared to Sainz,
Yeah.
and he could have held out and maybe got a third. But even if his tyre blew up, he would have finished in fifth anyway because Fernando was so far back. It was a nothing to lose scenario, and they cocked it up and they brought him in. Like it's just stupid things like that. And Sainz took his strategy into his own hands at Monaco, and he got a second. And yeah, Charles. The only way that Charles will win championships with Ferrari is if he does that. But it's a shame that you have to have that in order to win because you should have your team doing that for you. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, like, it's Shaw is doing his part. Like every driver says, "I'm on X tire" or "this tire isn't good." Like drivers know, like these guys aren't. I don't think like we should ever expect a driver not to know how to use a tire. But like Max Verstappen gives feedback on the Perez gives feedback on the tires. Hamilton gives feedback. Charles and Sainz give feedback on the tires on the track, and it's not like they have to agree with each other all the time, right? It's your job as a strategist to analyze, like, from the data and from the driver input, what works. When you have Carlos Sainz in Monaco say, I think we should go straight to dry, then you should check the data and then see if you should box Charlotte for the same instead of switching. I don't know.
It's
I don't
just
know.
stupid.
Yeah.
They just can't control a race anymore. It's just awful to see Ferrari falling off so bad. I'd love to say by the end of the season they've won the title, but that isn't going to happen because if nothing changes now, nothing will change near the end of the season. Nothing
Like the
changes.
three, like the DNS Red Bull had were, I think it was gearbox issue for Perez, and then the three before that were fuel connection issues. Like the three DNS are the four that they've had so far in the first three only, and that's just because the ethanol kept dissolving. Today, this season's fuel is more ethanol than usual. That's basically it. A quick fix. They're done. I think the reliability issues are long behind them, but like like you said, even three DNFs won't be enough to tie the lead. This is unbelievably bad on Ferrari's part.
Yeah, honestly, Ferrari have they completely blown it. Do you remember when Charles had 73 points and George Russell was second in the championship?
Oh yes,
You remember that? That's how long ago that
yeah,
was. Max had 25 points and Charles had like 73. He had like a 50 plus point gap, and now he's 80 points behind, and it's the first half of the season.
yeah. Everything's completely inverted because Hamilton, everyone was Nico Rosberg, who by the way beat Hamilton in equal machinery,
Equal
as everyone
machinery.
knows.
I love that meme so much. I love that so much.
Is that Nico Rosberg, the man who beat Hamilton in equal?
I think it is. I love that meme. It's funny.
Yeah, but at Nico Rosberg, the moment he started It's like, yeah, sorry, Nico, we did not have the car for you. And then Nico's like, yeah, he has to apologize because like he needs to keep his spirits up, and he knows that like Hamilton's performance wasn't good because you have his teammate George Russell up in P5. I'm like, Nico, like what? The guy can't have any bad races whatsoever.
Yeah. He saw Lewis have one bad year and he's just completely shitting on him the entire year.
It's not even a bad year. It was
Exactly,
a bad
exactly.
race.
It was a start. It was a bad
Yeah.
start. It was a bad start. And then he's come back into his own. But it's so.
And everyone's like, that's it. Hamilton's done. He's retired. Shut up.
I love how this
Yeah.
was initially the. Let's talk about what happened around Hungary and all of this controversy, and it's just tailed off into just shitting on Ferrari, deservedly.
Yeah.
But
Because like this, despite the fact that there's no champion, I hate to say it, there's no matter how much we pretend there is. But the season is still interesting because stupid. It's become a circus,
Yeah.
right? Like it's become everyone's being a bunch of clowns. Piastri, Alpine, Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso. Everyone decided to play aerodynamic purposes and decided that like this is what F1's gonna be now. If we can't make money from a title fight and attracting in way, we can make money by making everyone act a bunch of. This is scripted. There's
Yeah,
no way
yeah,
any of this
completely.
happens in true.
yeah, they paid
Yeah.
Ferrari massive bucks just to completely screw Charles over just for entertainment purposes. And then next half they'll pay Christian Horner to screw over Red Bull. That's what F1's become. It's become so political. You wouldn't even like say like, oh, that's a bit odd. That's a bit weird. That's just something that could happen and it would probably slide. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Christian Horner gave a talk at Cambridge University, I think, where he was like, when on the grid then, and everyone like when I went to my first like, everyone was arguing half for their own team and half for the spirit of F1 in general, progress of the sport. And it's like now things have changed. I'm still the youngest principal, which is honestly amazing. Like imagine like being in the sport for like 15 years and you're still the youngest team principal ever
Yeah.
on the grid. That's ludicrous. But anyways, yeah, he was like, now that times have passed, everyone's looking out for their. I'm like, Christian, you're the reason that happened. Like you're in part the reason why team principals look out for their own team and sport as a whole. It's because you and Toto started every chance you get.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I say that all the time. Like Drive to Survive, manufactured drama. If you watch this season, right? Like it's like with The Bachelorette or The Bachelor. Like the clips only sound dramatic and like all hyped up because they splice it in that order and
Yeah.
shit out of context to make it dramatic.
Exactly.
But with Drive to Survive, the illusion fades because I can watch the sport in real time and listen to the driver's radio and their interview and know that you're making lies. This year, Drive to Survive does not have. Everything is set right in front of them. Just these past 2 weeks alone can make a full Drive to Survive season. All the drama that you need.
If I'm going to be honest, what's it called? 2018, there was the Max and Danny Rick drama that was made by Netflix, and I remember watching that in 2018 during the winter break when I really started getting into F1, and I watched that, and then I was getting recommended all these videos of Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen being wholesome, and they're like best mates. They're some of their best mates, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? What the hell? What the hell was Netflix saying? And then in 2019, they pushed it to another level, and they said that Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz had beef, even though they were even better friends. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's about as wholesome as you can get. Those two driver pairs, they were about as wholesome as you can get, and then they still had them somehow having beef with each other just because they edited little clips in. Oh yeah, 2020. I remember 2020 because remember when Charles crashed into Seb and he said, "Mein Gott, gut sein," in Austria, even though he said it in 2019 Brazil. You can't forget about that. That shit does not slide. And they were like, I got pushed aside. I got pushed aside. I got pushed aside. Oh my god, it's legendary how shit Netflix have made it. And I haven't even watched season 4 just because I can't be arsed. I can't be arsed. Oh,
Oh,
honestly.
some of it's so strange. Some of it's so strange. Like you remember the Charles and Lando and Norris. Oh, no, Lando Norris is the person. Shit, Lando and Carlos. That's the yeah. The Lando and Carlos drama. Like I got into F1 last year because I found like Dacha 44's meme, like his
Ah,
like compendium thing that he made. That popped up like one day, YouTube algorithm. So that popped up in my feed one day, and I watched. Wow, this Formula One thing, crack in it. So like, I watched this entire like reel of like roll after roll after roll, and then I started watching the actual sport.
yeah.
And then once I heard about the aerodynamics and the science behind it, like that was the science behind Formula. So yeah, I'm like watching this stuff, and then I'm like, what is this Drive to Survive thing? Let me check it out. And the first episode I ever watched, the Lando Carlos thing. And they're like, now that like Carlos has a contract with McLaren, how will they race his teammates for the rest of the year? Perfectly fine. I mean, like, how would their relationship change? Because Lando's not here next year, like, or Carlos is not there next year. Nothing makes sense. I'm not sure how they think this works, but
I mean, it's
yeah,
worked. It's worked. Formula One's got absolutely massive because of it, and it's also become
yeah,
incredibly toxic because of it. But still, it's got massive. The profits to the moon. Honestly,
yeah.
Netflix has done so much for this sport, but then also for the people that are already interested in it, it's done so much bad because it's made it toxic, and it's also like made like just these new people, new viewers think that so much shit that isn't happening is happening. But
I think a good finishing topic then would be. I mean, I honestly I'd like to finish on Ferrari being a shit show,
we've already done that though.
but
We've already done that for like
yeah,
half an hour.
we've done that to death. We can make new content later. I don't think they'll stop screwing up.
Oh yeah, we got end of season review. We'll just be going over Ferrari for an
Yeah,
hour.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but we could do. Should we have more American races? Because every time I think about Miami, I vomit. That was a
Yeah, same,
disgusting race.
same. No, mate. Remember, we've got Vegas next year as well. We've got 3 American races.
I think Vegas at least will be beautiful.
Oh yeah, it will
Like
be. It will be
running through.
such a nice event. At least if they're not
Yeah,
building it around a stadium. That's the only
right.
positive. And making fake harbors and shit. Like,
Oh my God. So for those of you who didn't watch the Monaco, or not the the Miami Grand Prix, you didn't miss much. It was awful, but
yeah,
like basically Formula One circuits have to have aesthetic. Monaco, is the racing good? Absolutely not.
yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's Monaco, right? The harbor's right there. It's like same goes for Vegas. Like, will there be good racing? I doubt. But it's Vegas in the strip at night. You get to see all these lights lighting up these Formula One cars. Beautiful. The problem with Miami was it was in daytime, and it looked like any regular old town. The
Mhm.
water in Miami, the coast, is what really sells the whole thing. But instead of racing by the water side, which a lot of Formula One tracks entirely, but instead of racing by the water, they um they built a fake harbor and they put fake boats in there for people to sit on and see the race. And they raced around the Hard Rock Stadium where the god awful Miami Dolphins play. For those of you who don't watch American football, the Miami Dolphins are bad because they intentionally lose every year, and every time they get good, because the worse they do, the better draft pick next year. That's where this race. And honestly, I think that the Miami Dolphins are just like the Miami race. Terrible, and I want them gone.
So yeah, I've little side thing. Yeah, I put a link to a video in the stream. It's a good video. You should watch it. But in the video, the guy talks about how 2 workers were burned in accident at Miami GP track and hospitalized days before F1 race. And he said in the video that I don't know if this did actually happen, but the guy was on fire and he would have run over to this harbor and tried to jump in this water.
Oh no!
I don't know if that did happen. It could have just been a joke, but that's just awful to think about if that actually happened. Like, this guy was like, "Oh my god, there's some water. Let's just jump into this concrete."
That's like some like.
That is literally that's like cartoon shit. That is cartoon shit. Like that's oh my god.
Oh wow, it is raining cats and dogs right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just burning to death.
Yeah, it started raining really hard. And we had to stop the recording entirely because, well, nothing was getting across and all we could get was weird gaps in our audio. But the important thing is the last 10 minutes of the podcast is dedicated to shitting on the Miami Grand Prix because it was full of celebrities, it was really annoying, and nothing productive really happened. The race was awful, and it was really focused more on the idiots surrounding the track more than the racers on the track. Needless to say, Vegas will be better because it's going to be on the strip but at night. But Miami has to go.
It's time to go!